All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we're going to talk about Bo Nix and the Broncos. So again, right as I went to break, another brain fart. I hit the starting soon, and then I hit the first break commercial. So that was great. But then we ended up straightening it out. But I don't know what's going on with me today. But we're going to talk about Bo Nix now, the other rookie quarterback here. And he's also looked good in the preseason. So these are his preseason stats so far. And, I watched, some videos, whether it was on NFL Live or, listening to Chris Sims, Albert Breer as well. I mean, they all are speaking very highly on Bo Nix, and they think, he's ready to go. And, Sean Payton, he hasn't really made a decision yet. We're still waiting on that, but it does look like Bo Nix could be the starter week one. And, going through the Broncos, as we, progress through, mini camp, training camp, now the preseason, we just really didn't know. At the beginning, I was like, I guess, Jared Stidham could be the starter week one, but that might not be the case. We might be seeing Bo Nix right away. And now, look, when it comes to all the quarterbacks, and I'm going to say it again, it is the preseason. Like, I know Caleb Williams made a couple of nice plays in his debut, and I highlighted that yesterday. But the only way we're truly going to be able to evaluate these quarterbacks is when they go up against first-string defenses. Now, the Broncos, they take on the Seahawks in Seattle. That is not an easy place to play at. Now, the Seahawks, it's a new era for them because Pete Carroll is no longer there. You got Mike McDonald over from the Ravens, who was a very good defensive coordinator. He's now the head coach. But that's a tough place to play. And that's where Bo Nix is going to be making his first start. If he is named the starter, of course. Anthony Manzano in the chat. Good to see you. He said, when I heard that interview from Tua, I felt like he took shots that were not necessary at Flores because he said Flores was way too harsh on him when he was a rookie. Yeah. I did talk. Yeah. So I talked about that at the start, and it's just I think really what it comes down to is his coaching style. His philosophy was be tough on the players, and that should motivate them to do well in games. And I guess Tua and other players did not respond to that. Whereas you have Mike McDaniel, who's more of just, hey, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure you're in the best situation. You're great at what you do. And with the organization, they showed it by giving him that big contract. So, yeah, you might look at it as it's not necessary to do that, but the reporter asked him a question, and that's how he answered it. So, that's my thoughts on it, at least from the things I was taking a listen to yesterday on the topic. So I wanted to get into what Sean Payton had to say on the quarterback situation, because like I said, he hasn't made a final decision yet. But I think at this point, it seems like Bo Nix is going to be the starter, unless he throws us a curveball and he's not named the starter. Like, imagine if he named Zach Wilson the starter. It's not going to happen. But it looks like it's coming down to either Bo Nix or Jared Stidham, which not really surprising. But this is what Sean Payton had to say. He said, listen, he's played well. I'm not announcing any starting quarterback tonight. I'll let you guys know when the time comes, but I thought he played well. You feel his comfort level as he continues to get used to the calls coming in. You've got to feel the poise when he's playing. And, yeah, so the other night, finished 8 of 9 for 80 yards with a 2-yard touchdown pass to Tim Patrick. It's nice to see Tim Patrick back on the field because the last couple years he's been hurt, and he's got a 140, and he had a 140.7 quarterback rating. Now, he also did throw a touchdown pass to Javonte Williams. I didn't see it, but it got negated when they went and reviewed the play, and he was past the line of scrimmage, so it was an illegal forward pass. Jared Stidham, he went 7 of 11 for 65 yards, no touchdowns and a pick, but he had a 9-yard touchdown run. But yeah, so Sean Payton continued saying, I thought he was sharp. Obviously, I think he was 8 for 9. He does a good job of distributing the football, understanding zones, man-to-man, what coverage concepts we're getting. And then when this is what Bo Nix said, when I looked to the side, I kind of had a feeling, but they didn't throw a penalty, so I thought I got it, but the instant replay gets us all out, and that was the touchdown pass. He also said, I think it's a really good fit, especially tonight. Come out here, and I was very comfortable with the first few plays that were called. They were kind of keeping it with my comfort level, and that's huge, especially for someone who's trying to get in there and execute. You want to run plays You want to run plays that you feel comfortable with, and that's what Coach Payton was calling tonight. So, and when you hear Sean Payton talking about Bo Nix being able to read defenses and the coverage concepts, like Payton was saying, that's a good sign. When your coach is saying that, and that can go a long way, and that probably will inevitably lead to him being the starter right away. Because again, I wasn't sure. Are they gonna have him sit? Is he gonna, be the third? I think at one point he was like the third quarterback on the depth chart. So you just really didn't know. And I don't really expect the Broncos to be very good this year. But that's just me. But if Bo Nix could carry what he's doing into the preseason over to the regular season, maybe the Broncos win a couple more games than what I imagined, what I had them originally. Anthony says in the chat, talking about Brian Flores, he is a Belichick disciple. Yes, that I also did bring that up too, the coaching tree, because it's not very good. Because you have Brian Flores, you got Matt Patricia, Josh McDaniels, Joe Judge, Bill O'Brien. It's not great. It's not great. So, I guess the best one out of the group was Bill O'Brien. But, look what happened with him after he traded DeAndre Hopkins. Texans fell off. So, and this is just from, the NFL. Because, obviously Bill O'Brien, was a coach and, spent some time in college as well. But I'm just looking at it from, the Patriots. But it's the coaching tree for Belichick is not great, and it's weird because the amount of winning that he did. But I don't want to get into this whole Tom Brady, Bill Belichick discussion. But that's kind of look at Brady and you say, maybe it kind of leans more towards your way, as opposed to it being a balance. But that's a separate discussion. I don't know. With the Broncos, back to the Broncos, I don't know. Do the Broncos right now have enough around Bo Nix this year where they can, maybe make a little bit of noise? I don't know. I don't think so. They still got Courtland Sutton, so you still have a number one receiver, but they traded away Jerry Jeudy. I'm guessing Marvin Mims is going to play more of a role on this team. They did draft a receiver. I forgot about that. Troy Franklin they drafted. Is Tim Patrick making the team? Because I don't know. I was hearing that maybe he was on the bubble, but who knows? He might still be on the team. They brought in Josh Reynolds. The running back, I don't think the running back situation is bad. You hope Javonte Williams, another year removed from the torn ACL, that, he can get back to how he was before the injury. Still got Samaje Perine. Jaleel McLaughlin was a decent player for him last year. You have Adam Troutman, who's the number one tight end, at least on the ESPN depth chart. Greg Dulcich. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, it definitely is lacking, but like I said, there were reports that Sutton could have been traded too. So I mean, they got some young receivers there, some veterans, but we'll see. But it looks like he's going to be the starter. So, and I think he's definitely earned it the way he's been playing. And when you got the coach speaking highly of him, now he hasn't made an official decision, but that might be where we're going, is towards him being the starter. So I'm not going to be surprised if that ends up being decided before the next preseason game. But maybe Sean Payton is going to wait till after the third preseason game, because I'm guessing all three quarterbacks are going to play again, and then he'll make a decision after that. That's my guess, but again, what do I know? I just know it's probably not going to be Zach Wilson. So anybody that was hoping for Zach Wilson to be the starter, it's probably not going to happen. Sorry. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think though on Bo Nix as well. I mean, listen, this rookie quarterback class has a potential to be great. So we'll see how it all goes. But let me know what you guys think, though. Should Bo Nix start from day one? Should Jared Stidham be the starter? Or do you think Zach Wilson should be the starter for whatever reason? Let me know in the comments. So when we come back from our next break, and hopefully I don't have any more mishaps today, because it's been that kind of day. We are going to discuss Justin Herbert coming back to practice, and what does that mean for the Chargers? So with that being said, stick around. And we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.